Job Vlog.
Well guys, I've been looking for a solution to record better video game footage on console games while not having to use a PC, or in my case, a 12-year-old MacBook Pro. So I'm looking for an external capture card device with some plug-and-play aspects to it. Not necessarily having to hook it up to a PC, but just pop in maybe an SD card or a USB flash drive, and I think I have found a great solution. This is the AGPtek HD Video Capture, or that's kind of just what it says on the box. You may see this under the name EZCAP or maybe MYPIN over on Amazon. I picked this up for $92, which is less than the Pinnacle drive I had way back in, 2009-ish? Which only put out maybe 480p. Here you're limited in a few ways, but you do have some great benefits. Firstly, you have a remote control. You have an LED light at the front of the unit, letting you know if it's recording or not, if you have it plugged in correctly. These things can be pretty helpful. Yes, the unit itself looks like the cheapest thing I've ever seen in my life. The photos don't do it justice. Maybe there's a lower end model that has some kind of rubberized plastic to it that might look a little nicer. But this gets the job done in ways that the others cannot. Let me tell you, your mini classic consoles put out 720p. This can essentially upconvert that and save the capture to 1080p 30 frames per second. Yes, I realize it's not 60 frames per second. You're going to have your PC help you if you're going to get that kind of quality, or 4K for that matter. But that's not what I needed. My old computer can play nice with 1080p at 30 frames per second. I need all those files to be the same frame rate and the same resolution in order to not have to render for days. So to be able to capture 720p footage saved at 1080p is a huge win for me. Now you have two different formats you can put on your drive. If your drive is NTFS, you can have a no split format so that you have one endless file, and that is perfect for dragging and dropping into YouTube because it's saved as an MPEG-4. Unfortunately, if you go with the no split, fair warning, you better have no intention of editing this because you're going to end up with all kinds of artifacts and compression issues every time you cut. Now, if you do want to do something more editing rather than streaming, I recommend you go with the split option. Sure, the file limitation, it's 2 gigabytes. That gives you maybe like 10-15 minutes. I think you might even get up to 20 minutes, depending on what you're really using, of, say, gameplay footage. And then it'll splice the file, create another one right away, and you can keep going. Now, I did run across one big error where all of a sudden my device wasn't recognizing the USB drive. I thought, is it because I'm using a 3.0? No, it just seems as though if you go too long on the split version, you can run into some problems. But if you keep your game session to say 40 minutes or so, you should be fine. The menu system is no frills. It looks like early 2000s DVD player setup, but you're not going to be spending a lot of time in there. Now you can switch to 720p at 60 frames per second if you're up to the task. Either way, I think you're going to find results pretty satisfactory. And there's just something convenient about not having to have your computer blazing in order to get some gameplay footage. Now the screen you're going to be playing on, it may look a slightly bit more gray, but don't worry, the footage will capture the true blacks. And I'm not being racist, I'm talking about, okay, black people. I may have to update this with some comments below if I find that the reliability of my capturing falters further. At the moment, I'm going to go ahead and give the AGPtek, I'm going to have to put the serial number up over here because it can get a bit confusing, an 8.7 out of 10. You're a very beautiful senora, and I'm ashamed to ask you for $1 American per month to listen to my weekly podcast on Patreon. But if I don't, my father will beat me.